Hebrews 2:17 through 18 says, "For this reason, he had been made like them, fully human in every way, in order that he might become a merciful, faithful high priest in service to God, that he might be able to make atonement for the sins of the people, because he himself suffered when he was tempted. He was able to help those who had been tempted." Here's the last point, and I'm going to close with this. And this is a sweet point. And this is the one that you need to see. This is the game over one. God will bring good out of bad.
That's right.
Romans 8:28, "And we know according to all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." How can God do this? Well, he can use pain to deepen our character. In Romans 5:3 and 4, "Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that our suffering produces perseverance, character, and character, hope." He will use pain to reshape us as his children. In Hebrews 10 and 11, "They were disciplined for us for a little while, as they were thought best. But God disciplines us for his good, in order that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. But later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it." Also, he can use pain to us, pain in us and to us in a more spiritual and eternal purpose. In 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18, it says, "Therefore, do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are renewed day by day. For our light and our momentary troubles are achieving for us eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen, since this is temporary, and that what is unseen is eternal." Philip Yancey, in his book, "Where is God When It Hurts?" says this. I'm going to give you some Philip Yancey quotes because they're so insightful. "To some, the image of a pale body glimmering in a dark night is the whispers of defeat. What good is a God who does not control his son's sufferings? But another sound can be heard, the sound of God crying out to human beings, saying, 'I love you.' Love was compressed for all history in that lonely figure on the cross, who said that he could call down 10,000 angels at a moment and notice on a rescue mission, but chose not to because of us. At Calvary, God accepted his own unbreakable terms of justice. Any discussion on how pain and suffering fits into God's scheme ultimately leads back to the cross." Philip Yancey. Philip Yancey goes on a couple more cool quotes. "Grace like water flows to its lowest point. In your lowest, in your deepest, in your greatest hurt, God is going to pour out his Spirit upon you." He also said in this book, Where is God When It Hurts? "God wants us to choose to love him freely, even when that choice seems and involves pain, because we are committed to him, not to our own good feelings and rewards. He wants us to cleave to him as Job did. Whenever there was any reason to deny him hotly, Job didn't. That, I believe, is the central message of Job. Satan had taunted God with the accusation that humans were not absolutely truly free. Job was being faithful simply because God had allowed him a prosperous life? No. Job's trials, his fiery trials, proved that the answer was beyond doubt. Job clung to God's justice when he had the best example in history of God's apparent injustice. He did not seek the giver because of the gifts. When all the gifts were removed, he still sought the giver. Job says it this way in Job 13. "Why do I put myself in jeopardy and take my life in my hands? Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. I will surely defend my ways to his face. Indeed, I will turn out for my deliverance, for no godless person would dare come before him." You see, God can use pain to grab our attention and teach us to redirect our ways that will be important in our lives. C.S. Lewis said it this way: "God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks to us in our conscience, and shouts in our pain. It is his megaphone to arouse a deaf world." I think of Ty from the Home Makeover program with his stupid bullhorn. And he walks around and just shouts into people's faces. Do you understand that that's what God is doing in the midst of your pain and your sin? God is picking up the bullhorn and getting into your face and saying, "Are you listening right now?" just like Ty. In the midst of your struggles and pain, God is speaking into him, saying, cling to me, cleave to me, hold to me. Psalm 38:18 says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are spiritually crushed. Are you spiritually crushed this morning? Are you downtrodden? Are you hurting? Are you broken? I don't know about you, but I dealt with pain and suffering and evil about 11 different ways this week. From people almost dying, to people wanting to quit and walk away from God, some tragic situations, some pain, some hurts that we've seen both personally, family-wise, ministry-wise, stuff in the community, an employee of Widener, his child ran away, just, about 11 different levels all at the same time coming at you like a tsunami. And then you turn on the news and you see the evil and the presence and the economy and just, you sit back and you go, wow, it's numbing, it's overwhelming. It's, how does a person still love God with all that? And yet, I posted this on Facebook and I said, I'm emotionally spent. I don't know if I have anything left to give, and yet, in my heart of my hearts, I have hope. It's like I sense in my spirit that God is about to do something magnificent. It's like every time in my spiritual life, and I look back over the 30-some years I've served God, first as a single man, as a young married guy, as a guy who was in a lay minister in ministry and in a business world, and now as a pastor, and then as a youth pastor. I look at all this and say, every time this cycles through, and this does cycle through, where evil seems to be more present, where more negative things happen, where bad stuff is, it's like you just know there's something going on in the spirit world that you can't see, taste, or touch. Did you know there's a battle raging? And quite frankly, I don't have the guts like Elisha to say, oh Lord, show the people around me the battle that I know. I don't want to know. I don't really want to know that somewhere there's an evil force of T-71 tanks sitting in my front yard. I would rather that they stay invisible even though everything's being blasted to hell around me. It's like, I don't want to see the incoming. I don't want to see the Apache helicopters coming down out of the sky, these demonic beings. Well, you know it's there.
Yeah,
if you're a believer. Right. You know that stuff is going on around. I don't want to see it. I just want to know in my heart that my God's big enough to take care of it.
Amen.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm spent. I'm not going to make the stupid statement of, enough, Lord. I know better. But at the same time, I'm going to sit back and say, in my heart I have hope. I know in whom I believe it, and I am fully persuaded that he is able to keep that which I have committed unto him. And that is the answer people want. People want to know that, do you really believe? I mean, your life's crap, but you really believe God, even though your life's crap? It's funny how that their life, they're standing in a building that is on fire, yelling at you that your house is rubble, and they're wondering why you still have hope. The fact is that if you have hope, you need to declare it. And then you need to love them as God loved you in the midst of your problems. Do unto others as God has done unto you. When campus ministry is near and dear to my heart because it's the future of our nation. And I get a kick taking guys out to lunch who are dirt poor. They're college students. In 4 years' time, they'll be making 5 times what I make, And I always say to them, I said, I want you to remember this meal. I want you to remember the conversation that we're having around this meal. And in 10 years' time, I fully expect you to go do likewise. Someone served you. Someone's loved you. Go bless somebody else when you're able. That's kingdom. That's discipleship. That's passing it on. Listen. I don't know where you're at. I don't know what you've dealt with. I don't know your hurts. I know some of your hurts because some of you are my sheep. I'm your pastor. I don't know all the aches and heartaches. I know some of you are very gifted in telling me the whole list. I don't need to know the whole list. I just know that we're all screwed up and broken. The challenge this morning is, what are you doing what God's done for you? How are you loving people? Are you loving people the way God loved you? How God met your need when you were your neediest? Are you doing the same for the people that you see around them? You see, people aren't saying, where is God in this evil stuff? They're not saying, why did God allow all this tragic stuff to happen? They're saying, will you please love me in the midst of my hurt? And that's what we have to do. Shut up and love them. Serve them. Care for them. Meet their need. And you know what? They will turn around and love your God because you dealt with them in grace.